It was a wonderful, wonderful part of the world. People were dragged in there from all the Middle European countries and from Ireland, to work the mills and the mines. And so the only true melting pot that I've ever experienced in my life isn't New York City, where I'm talking to you from, where everyone goes off into their separate enclave, but Pittsburgh, where all the world mixed together and didn't take insult from one another. And as a consequence, the level of mutual respect was quite high. But we were ignored, or otherwise this wouldn't have happened. I don't know if that's true today. I would doubt it. But nevertheless, when I came to New York City, which was reputed to be the intellectual center of the American universe, I genuinely was bewildered because the 7th and 8th grade classes that I was given as a substitute teacher were about on the level of 3rd grade classes back in Pittsburgh. And I said, no, something has to be wrong here. We're the dumb ones, not these people. But I watched how it was being done. You start with this idea that since these people are permanently inferior, they wouldn't use that word, of course, they would say challenged by their backgrounds, that you don't hurt them by asking them to think hard. And
in case they try to think and get involved in the smart people's business, let's poison them and dumb them down so they're more easily managed. We'll be right back.
It is a big idea.
My only friend, the end of elaborate plans, the end of everything.
That's the choice. We stand at a crossroads, either the global scientific dictatorship architects who publicly in 1,000 times 1,000 statements and documents said that not only is eugenics positive eugenics, to, quote, breed the elite for looks, longevity, intelligence, health, but also to go out and sterilize and control the, quote, unwanteds, which then gives the government and the powers that be the ability to just say you don't have rights. But also the main movement of eugenics that's in the higher level textbooks is to poison and dumb you down because, well, you may be stupid, but you're still cunning. They call, they describe us like weasels. Well, just like in fact, I've seen that in their documents, just like a weasel or a wolf isn't as smart as a man. It can still cause problems, so you've got to dumb them down, poison them, sterilize them, and that's what all this is. That's why they put fluoride in your water, amongst many other things. John Daler Gatto, please continue. Now, let's get up into the 50s, 60s, 70s. Let's go through their plan, what it's done to education. You go to New York, a 3rd grade, education compared to yours. Stuff you were learning in 3rd grade, they were learning in 9th grade. Go from there.
All right. Now, let me interpolate the mechanism of managerial control. One of the first undertakings was to make schooling teacher-proof. That was very, very important because an awful lot of people are drawn to school teaching who genuinely have some strong positive feelings about young people, and they want to be valuable. So you've got to make teaching teacher-proof. You've got to make schools principal-proof, administrator-proof, because you might get some maverick who's actually dedicated to some good. And you have to make state departments of education part of a transmission belt. Never, never, never people who generate policy. And this was done, and I'll cite in just a second the congressional investigation of this that anyone can look up and read. This was done out of the project offices of about a dozen major private corporate foundations. The two most efficient were Carnegie and Rockefeller, and today they're joined by Exxon and the Gates Foundation. But here's where school policy is formed, and then it's fed in through compliant state departments of education and through the federal education department, which itself has no primary power either. Let me give you
it's under UNESCO and directly directed by the foundations.
Yes. And rather than take my word for it, there are two just magnificent congressional studies. One in 1949 called the Reece Commission, Reece. It's Carroll Reece. He was a Tennessee congressman. The Reece Report, which it will be obtainable. Your librarian can order it. I doubt if one would be in the library. And it may very well be on the Internet. I haven't looked. And the other one is the Walsh Commission Report. That was 1915. So as early as 1915, the legislature, the national legislature, was looking into this. What they discovered was identical in 1949 and in 1915, that our schools were under the control of the private foundations, not anyone that we elected or hired. So I'll skip that now. Through the Second World War, this was being conducted quite openly, in the sense that the fantastic American ability to read well, which had been noted all over the world.
The inventiveness, the cunning, the skill, the eyes electric with inventiveness.
You bet. And by 1939 we had 90% of all the patents granted on planet Earth. But during the Second World War, under the cover of the war, the American ability to read was substantially degraded. And the American imagination that created in, new developments technologically was degraded also. So that by 1960, our 90% mastery was down to 32%, I believe.
John Taylor Gatto, the numbers don't lie. We'll talk to you on the other side.
We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network. Spyville.com.
Little piece of you, a little piece of me will die.
I want to be very calm about this and restate this for you. We're not mincing words. We're not joking. We're not exaggerating. In fact, we cannot give you all the thousands of quotes and documents and books. He's put it for free in his 10-plus year book. It took him that long to write it. At his website, we'll give you in a moment. That's how much he cares. And everything he's telling you, I've independently discovered on my own. I want to explain that. Why is that important? This is real. They openly said diet, injection, and injunctions would be used to poison you further and dumb you down further. That's the UNESCO plan. That's what controls our education system. They are poisoning you through the food and water. Police officers, you think you work for the system. You think you're part of the system. You and your family are going to have bone fractures, heart attacks, Alzheimer's, and you're going to be in this fog you're in of frustration, of feeling weak-minded, of having those fleeting moments of intelligence. You're supposed to feel like that, exhilarated with life. You are under chemical attack. Coming up the next hour, I've got a special 10-minute piece on fluoride we're going to be playing. Stay with us for that at the bottom of the next hour. John Taylor Gatto, before we go any further, tell people about your website, the free book, where they find the link on there for it, or how they buy the hard copy. This is something that anyone with children in a government intellect extermination camp needs to read. This is something that everyone who went through the camps, and now look at them, thumb scanning to get lunches, being arrested for no reason, cameras in bathrooms. Now they're going to full-blown re-education prison camps. How do people get your book?